Happy Wednesday. Welcome in to the Lindsay Beckham Show. I pulled myself away from the Lindsay Clancy trial, away from my phone screen, my computer screen, my TV screen, because I'm serving as an unofficial stay at home juror. It's quite interesting, and we're going to talk about that today. But hope everybody's having a fabulous day. It is a hot one. On the way in, I was hearing on the news that there are jails in the state of Mississippi they're having to relocate the occupants of because the air conditioning is not working. If that's not a reason to keep you from committing a crime here in the state of Mississippi, I don't know what is, because it is hot. It is hot. So I hope everybody is staying hydrated, staying cool out there. If you need any help with that, of course, sponsor of the Lindsey Beckham Show, Pure Air Consultants, can most definitely help you. And I'm thinking you're going to need it if for some reason your air is not functioning properly. But as always, we are going to get the show started off today with our Live in Liberty daily quote, because I think it's so important that we remember and take away from our founders these quotes and the inspiration to keep this country the way they envisioned it to be. And so our quote today for Wednesday, August 19th is actually from Benjamin Franklin. And this comes from the petition from the Pennsylvania Society for the Abolition of Slavery to the First Congress in 1790. And he said this: mankind are all formed by the same almighty being, alike objects of his care and equally designed for the enjoyment of happiness. I could not agree more. Hopefully, Christine Wells Wansley is listening to the show today. This might be a good one for her to hear. All formed equally by the same almighty being. All are cared about and equally designed. Again, these quotes come from the Live in Liberty Daily Journal, a quote a day from the men and women who founded America. The principles that built America can save America, and you can find this at liveinlibertydaily.com if you would like to follow along or get the text messages sent straight to your cell phone. I think this is an incredible thing to do with your children who may not be getting, from a public school anyway, exactly the lessons you want them to learn. So I encourage you to check that out. And I also want to thank everybody who reached out yesterday and congratulated me on being a finalist for one of our Founders Awards that will be presented in October at our annual Moms for Liberty Summit over in Dallas. I am completely honored and taken aback. It was very unexpected. And thank you to everyone who has reached out and told me that you're proud of me or congratulations. It means the absolute world to me. I can't even put into words how much your support means. I couldn't sit here behind this microphone and talk about these issues that I care so deeply about if I didn't have anybody out there who listened or cared about the same issues. And so this award is actually for spreading engagement, talking to people, encouraging people to get involved. And I think that's kind of where this all started. Started a podcast called the Raising Liberty Podcast. It ended up kind of morphing into the Lindsey Beckham Show. In fact, my producer of the Raising Liberty Podcast, Mr. Daniel Anderson, will be here on the show with me live in studio tomorrow to talk about his newest vision and his newest podcast that he is starting up, Zero History. It's going to be quite entertaining. And we always have fun with Daniel. He's a great producer, and he certainly helped build confidence up in me to continue and not give up with my dream of wanting to be able to encourage people to get involved, to talk to people about the issues that are going on, not only across the country, not only statewide, but in our own communities, and the way that you can encourage others, you can educate others. And when we put our voices together, we can make a difference on those issues that are important to us, on those things that we care deeply about. Don't ever let anybody tell you that your voice doesn't matter, because I am proof right here that it does and that it can. So I love to spread awareness, and I could not be more honored to be nominated for this award. To me, it's one of the most important. You have to have the courage to speak out, and courage begots courage. And so people who may feel the exact same way you do and don't have the courage to say the things that need to be said, but see you out there talking about these issues, not being afraid to speak up and use your voice, that might be the tiny little bit of spark that they need to be able to speak out themselves. And I believe that with my whole entire heart. Now, yesterday we talked about these text messages that have been released by Sarah Fields, who independent journalist. She did a ton of work on the Carmelo Anthony case. She's also been covering Nolan Wells, everything that has transpired since the 4th of July over in Ocean Springs. She released text messages between Warren Hudson, one of the boys who was with Nolan that day, one of his best friends, and Christine, Nolan's mom. And these text messages looked quite differently than a lot of people thought they would, because if you listen to Christine, she gives the impression that she didn't really know these boys he was with, and they didn't want to turn over Nolan's phone. She had to go searching for him and use Life 360 and track his phone down. The text messages tell a completely different story. Completely different story. And I think a lot of us have been saying that. I think it's incredibly sad that Nolan Wells' legacy has been tarnished by the likes of Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and even more sad, his own mother, Christine. It is Nolan Wells' birthday today. And I want to recognize that. I want to honor that. I want to say happy birthday to Nolan Wells. Sadly, he's not here to celebrate it. And I think what's even more sad again is his memory and his legacy will forever be this national controversy that certain race baiting individuals have put out there on the forefront. And it worked, hook, line, and sinker. National media picked it up, and it's everywhere. I hate the fact that no matter what the findings may eventually be, when we get the full investigation, when all of this eventually is released, this entire investigation, the official autopsy, the official toxicology results, when all of this is released in full, there will still be people who will refuse to believe anything other than Nolan Wells was killed because he was Black. That breaks my heart. And that should not be what this young man is remembered for, because by all accounts, he was a very respectful, very well liked, loved young man. And I don't think anything he did that day makes him a bad person. He may have made some decisions that ultimately contributed to his death. That's what I believe, and I think that's what the investigation will ultimately show. But I don't think it makes him a bad person by any means. We've all been young. We've all gone out on a boat and celebrated at some point or had fun with our friends. So I think that everyone should put their differences aside and attempt to honor who he actually was. Obviously, he was someone who didn't judge or choose his friends because of the color of their skin, unlike his mother. It doesn't seem like that was the end all be all for him. That wasn't the deciding factor. And I believe everyone should put the differences aside. This race bait, this battle, this controversy that has ensued since his disappearance aside, and just wish this young man a happy birthday that unfortunately he's not able to celebrate here on earth. So I'm not going to go into anything deeper on that topic today. I do want to get into the Lindsay Clancy trial. Now, this trial has taken America by storm. There are so many opinions out there. There are so many thoughts. There are very strong opinions, in fact. I didn't know that opinions could be stronger than the opinions we had during the Karen Reed trial, but I'm rethinking that at this point. Yesterday, oh, goodness. All I got to say is Judgment Day is coming for all of us. I'll have to answer for things. We all will. But these two ADAs prosecuting or attempting to prosecute Lindsay Clancy, they're going to have quite a few things to answer for. Completely unprofessional. No sympathy. Almost just downright mean is what we have gotten to at this point. And I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what you think about it. Do you think they've proven their case? Have you been following? Do you think Lindsay is a cold-blooded murderer who should rot in hell and spend the rest of her life in jail? Do you think she should be acquitted of all charges? Do you think she should be found guilty but because of an insanity reason? A lot of people have a lot of differing thoughts and a lot of strong opinions. And we're going to talk about that on the other side of this break. But we do have to take a break. Y'all stay with us. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show, 1039 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Only in America. 1039 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Even with interest rates higher than recent norms, real estate values are still holding strong in Mississippi. We caught up again with one of Mississippi's top real estate agents, Shane Saxon, to explain his recent activity in the market.
In the last year or so, it's been the best of my career. Interest rates have been high, but the real estate market is here to stay. Land values especially are continuing to rise. Home values are holding. If you need help with anything in real estate, just give me a call.
Find Shane Saxon on Facebook or give him a call at 601-540-5040. Hopper Property, 601-724-1435. Looking to elevate your ride? Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck have you covered. From rugged bumpers to sleek step bars, Weston's top-notch accessories will transform your truck into a head-turner. And at Rick's Pro Truck, we specialize in custom installations that bring your vision to life. Visit us today for expert advice and unbeatable deals. Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck, where your truck's potential comes alive. Weston and RPT. Trucks live here.
United Piping is now VSC Fire and Security. At VSC, they will continue to be a trusted contractor for the inspection and installation of fire sprinkler, fire alarm, security, life safety, and low voltage systems. For nearly 7 decades, VSC Fire and Security has provided each and every customer with comprehensive solutions through outstanding design, efficient installation, reliable service and repair, and experienced expertise. Contact Greg Goza, Greg Bell, or David Benton in VSC's Ridgeland office to be your premier provider of fire protection and life safety solutions.
Huddle up, wing lovers, and double your count for less on Wing Tuesdays at Buffalo Wild Wings. When you buy one order of traditional wings, get one for 50% off. No time to dine? Order for delivery and wing it up with a crew at home. Or pick up takeout when you're on the go. Limit one per order, not valid with any other offers. Additional terms and conditions apply. Huddle up for Wing Tuesday at Buffalo Wild Wings.
At Sunkissed Tan and Wellness on Highway 49 in Flora, we specialize in providing exclusive tanning services and premium beauty products tailored for women. Our mission at Sunkissed is to enhance your natural beauty, offer expert advice, and create a personalized experience. At Sunkissed Tan and Wellness, step into our oasis and let us illuminate your beauty. Ask about our membership program. Find us on Facebook at Sunkissed Tan and Wellness or online at sunkissedtanandwellness.org.
Sun coming up over New York City.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios. We are also streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can call in to the show today, share with me your thoughts and opinions on the topic, 601-879-0002. You can also text the Lindsey Beckham Show text line. That number is 601-879-4648. Again, I hope everybody's having a fabulous Wednesday afternoon. Everybody except for Jennifer Prague and Shannon Buckingham over in the state of Massachusetts. I'm not going to say that I hope they're having a good afternoon. If you've been following along with the Lindsay Clancy trial, then you know what I'm talking about. And I'll kind of give you the short version of the events if you don't know about this trial. So Lindsay Clancy was a young mom, 3 small children, ages 5, 3, and around 8 months. Cora, I forget the second one's name, and then Callan was the baby. After having her 3rd child, she was a labor and delivery nurse. She struggled with postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. She sought help from every outlet you can think of. Initially, she reached out to her mother-in-law, Susan Clancy, who got her an appointment to see a nurse practitioner who specialized in mental health. She was put on medications only to be transferred to another provider within the same office who changed medications, so on and so forth. And by the end of it, she had been on over 13 antipsychotic SSRIs, not getting any better, telling them she's not getting any better, telling them she is having suicidal ideations, telling everyone who would listen, something's wrong, I'm sick, something's not right, I need help. Twice she called suicide hotlines only to be told they could not help her because she did not yet have a plan of how she would actually take her own life. She even went so far as to tell her husband, I've had thoughts of hurting the children. My opinion is that the effects of COVID, being isolated with all these medications in her system, I don't even know if they were able to completely wean her safely off one medication before starting another or increasing a different one, to the point she had a psychotic break. She took the lives of her 3 children by strangling them with exercise bands after sending her husband out to CVS to pick up a medication for their oldest, Cora, Pedialax, and then to pick up a takeout order from a local restaurant. The children were in the basement, and she had gone up to their second floor bedroom, attempted to slit her wrist and her throat, and then jumped from their bedroom window. And that is how her husband, Patrick Clancy, found her when he got home. She is now paralyzed from the chest down. She is in a wheelchair. She will be for the rest of her life. She's obviously been in custody or a psych ward since these events took place back in 2023, January of 2023. Absolutely devastating. Now, her husband has divorced her. He is remarried, which has caused a lot of speculation, but he does support her. And he has publicly said what happened that night. That's not who I married. She got sick. They've introduced her journal, writings from her journal, text messages to her mom saying, "Can you please come help me? I'm scared. I don't know what's wrong. I need help." She voiced concern that the medications were causing a lot of the problems, saying, as far as saying, "I've never felt this depressed. I think the medications are doing this to me." And instead of putting her inpatient somewhere, taking her off of all these antipsychotic, very strong medications, they just threw more at her and convinced her that she needed to try a different one. Everyone is not one size fits all when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to our genetic makeup, when it comes to medications that don't react well. But the DA's office over in Massachusetts, and I forget the exact county, but they have chosen to move forward with attempting to prosecute Lindsay Clancy. There are two DAs on the case: Jennifer Sprague, Shannon Buckingham. And I'm appalled and disgusted by some of their line of questioning, some of the tactics they are using to pull at the heartstrings of the jury. And I'm here to tell you, if the jury feels any way that I do, and I've watched every bit of it up to this point, it's backfiring. It's not working. You're not going to get the desired outcome that you are hoping to achieve here. You have no heart. They seem to be two of the coldest, heartless women I've ever seen practice in a courtroom. I don't know how their line of questioning, the way that they are handling these witnesses, is going to work in their favor. And I don't know how they can possibly think that it will. So the prosecution has rested at this point. It's now the defense. Patrick Reddington is the defense attorney, and he is extremely protective of Lindsay Clancy. He has been practicing for many years. Comes off as a grouchy old man sometimes, but I think he has done a dang good job of winning over the jurors. So he called yesterday Patrick Clancy's mother as a witness. Susan Clancy, who clearly supports her former daughter-in-law, Lindsay, who said that she was the most loving mother. And that's what every single witness who has taken the stand has said. Even the prosecutors, even the DA's office could not find one single witness who had something negative to say about Lindsay Clancy and the way she cared for her children. Not one. Not one. So Patrick Clancy's mother is on the stand yesterday, and we get to the cross-examination portion when these two ADAs question him, or I believe it was Jennifer Sprague who questioned this particular witness, but she went so far. And I'm laughing here because I cannot understand at all. I cannot fathom how she thinks this will help her. She went so far as to ask this woman, this grieving grandmother who has lost 3 young grandchildren who she dearly loved. She has lived through watching her son grieve his entire family, his whole world fall apart in the blink of an eye. And this ADA gets up there and asks her if she is a practicing Catholic, to which she responded, yes. And this is when things really flew off the rails here. She went on to say, this ADA, so you're aware that murder is considered a mortal sin? You could almost hear the in the courtroom. Everyone was shocked and blown away that this woman had the audacity to ask this grieving grandmother such a question. In what world are you going to win jurors over by bullying a woman who has lost her 3 grandchildren, especially in a situation such as this one? They were brutally murdered. Of course, she didn't get a chance to answer that question because before Kevin Reddington, the defense attorney, could even object, the judge asked to see counsel at sidebar. He put an end to that, nipped that in the bud real quick. That is the most unethical, unprofessional line of questioning I've ever heard in all of my true crime watching, I do believe. It was disgusting. Their attitudes, these two women, the way that they have approached these witnesses in this entire case is enough to lose every ounce of respect and trust from those jurors. I would not be surprised if Lindsay Clancy gets off scot-free here and is able to walk out of that courtroom a free, well, she won't walk. She's in a wheelchair. We forget about that. Because I imagine those jurors feel a lot like I do. And they're appalled by the way this case has been handled by the DA's office. No one should ever speak to a grieving grandmother the way that woman spoke to her yesterday. Insane. Mind-boggling. We got to take a break. But y'all stay with us because I want to continue this conversation on the other side of this break, and I would love to get your thoughts on it. What do you think the jury is going to decide? If you've been watching this case, do you think that ADAs are doing a good job of proving their case, or did they do a good job? Do you think Kevin Reddington is going to be able to get a insanity defense through for his client, Lindsay Clancy? I certainly do. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here. 1039 WYAB. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here. 1039 WYAB. Don't go anywhere.
Born in America. 1039 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to ring partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Ream and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In California, the trial against Meta continuing today following yesterday's opening statements. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, facing a multi-state lawsuit arguing that the platforms are designed to be addictive and have negative impacts on the mental health of teens and children. Allegations Meta denies. More from ABC's Kana Whitworth.
This is an operation that lawyers described as hook, hold, harvest, and hide, claiming the company also harvested data and hid the truth from the public. They call the former Facebook employee to the stand as well, who testified that teens are being exposed to violent and graphic content that was 100 to 400 times higher than what Meta is reporting publicly.
In Alaska, race results coming in from yesterday's primary races. President Trump's choice in a key Senate race, winning the Republican primary ahead of November elections. U.S. Representative Mary Peltola won the Democratic primary. President Trump ordering a pause on a new round of tariffs on Canadian goods for 3 days so talks can continue. This is ABC News.
Give your child the confidence of a healthy, beautiful smile with Sandifer Orthodontics, with offices in Jackson and Brandon. Start your child's first visit as early as age 7 with an orthodontic evaluation. No referral needed. Dr. Camille Sandifer is a board-certified orthodontist who combines advanced technology with personalized care. Sandifer Orthodontics. Trusted experience for the smiles you love most. Schedule your consultation today at sandiferortho.com.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Serpent Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Need equipment that works as hard as you do? Come see me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales in Carthage. Thousands of you have already made the short drive to see us at H&H for the state's best deals on CM truck beds, Big Tex trailers, Wells Fargo enclosed trailers, and even rugged Candy electric utility vehicles. At H&H, our equipment is built for the farm, job site, hunting camp, or anywhere around your property. So visit me, Noah Sullivan, at H&H Chief Sales on Highway 35 North in Carthage, or online anytime at hhchiefsales.com.
Hey, Rankin County, swing by the locally owned and award-winning 042 Wine and Spirits on Highway 80 next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon today. We've got one of the largest selections around with over 200 bourbons and whiskeys to ignite your taste buds, more than 50 vodkas, 50-plus tequilas, 30-plus rums, and ready-to-drink cocktails, as well as premium scotches. And get this, we've got over 400 wines in stock for the perfect pairing anytime. Discover your new favorites today at 042 Wine and Spirits right next to Sonny's Barbecue, Highway 80, Cross Gates, Brandon.
Sun coming up over New York City.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. Again, you can call into the show today, 601-879-0002. You can also text in to the Lindsey Beckham Show text line, 601-879-4648. You can also participate in the online chat. We have a few people in there. Jonna says, happy birthday, Nolan. Rest in peace, justice for his friends. Completely agree with you. Jonna also says, talking about Lindsay Clancy, she tried to get so much help. What she did was wrong, but I don't think she deserves to spend the rest of her life in prison. I do think she needs to get the appropriate help needed and give her a second chance. Just my opinion. Completely agree with you there as well. And this is not a situation where if she is found not guilty by reason of insanity, that they're just going to let her back out on the street. I think she is very much still suicidal at this point. She has watch 100% of the time due to that fact alone. And I think she's very open about that she does not want to be alive. I can't imagine living knowing that I had hurt my children. To me, that's the ultimate punishment for a mom. And by all accounts, by everyone who knew her, a loving, caring, incredible mother who wanted help, needed help, and unfortunately, tragically, did not get the help she deserved. Ashley says, they just went to lunch. Did you see the TikTok girl that was brought in by Big Red? Yes. So there was actually a TikToker, her name is Emily, who worked at the hospital where Lindsay Clancy was eventually inpatient. And she did leave. She checked herself out. She went in on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, didn't feel like she was getting any help, checked herself out because the next day was going to be her oldest child, her daughter Cora's birthday. And actually, she named her daughter Cora because as a nurse in labor and delivery, the first child that she ever helped deliver was named Cora. And so that's where her daughter got her name. She checked herself out. But what this video on TikTok that Emily made was, I believe it was Ducks or what? I can't remember the name of the hospital right now. But she had worked there. She had been a former employee at this hospital. And she was appalled when she saw the trial and the questioning about Lindsay checking herself out. She made a TikTok video about when she worked there, how low staffed they were, especially during weekends and holidays, and that nobody is really there to give them any sort of therapy or care. You're just in a room given some clay, some modeling clay to play with, and they'll come by every now and then to check and make sure you're still breathing, you're still alive. So if that's the case, then why wouldn't she check herself out? She's not getting the help she needed, and she wanted to be there for her daughter's birthday. I don't think anybody should blame her for that. But Kevin Reddington, who is the defense attorney, he saw this TikTok, he saw this video that this former employee, her name's Emily, made about the hospital and the conditions on, especially on weekends and holidays. He sought her out, and they were actually doing a voir dire. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Voir dire of her as I was driving into the station today. The judge is attempting to decide whether or not he is going to let her testify about those conditions concerning the hospital and the care received on instances such as holidays. You can't go and subpoena a current employee. They would be too afraid to speak out. They would lose their job. And while while Emily was not an employee at this hospital when Lindsay Clancy was inpatient there, she was the year prior. To the trial in the very beginning because they didn't know she existed. That was happening in front of the judge. I'm not sure if he has made his ruling yet on whether or not he's going to allow her to testify. I think it's absolutely relevant. We should know if they weren't properly staffed to care for the patients at that time. Of course, that is my opinion. I also think the timing is quite interesting. We just lost Hayden Panettiere, actress, child star from a very young age, who spoke out quite a bit about the postpartum depression she experienced after giving birth to her daughter. I think her daughter is now 11 or 12 years old. But she has struggled with addiction, depression, and anxiety, I believe, ever since. And unfortunately, looks to be allegedly an overdose situation, but unfortunately, we have lost this talent in Hayden Panettiere at quite a young age. I was a huge, huge Nashville fan, and I am heartbroken that she is no longer with us. I think the entire topic of postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, postpartum psychosis needs to be taken a lot more seriously than it ever has been at this point. You have no idea what these fluctuating hormones can do mentally to a human being. Matt Walsh may not agree with me, but again, he's never given birth. So there's that. We're going to take our last break. Y'all stay with us. We're going to be right back here to wrap things up here on this beautiful, hot Wednesday afternoon. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show, 1039 WYAB.
WYAB.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Who said you can have too much of a good thing? Not at Mazzo Jackson. With rates as low as 0% with approved credit. Come test drive the all-new, fully redesigned 2026 Mazda CX-5. That's more room for you and your cargo, making the third-generation CX-5 the best yet. Mazda's best-selling SUV also comes with 1-year maintenance included on your new vehicle purchase. Mazda Jackson still specializes in certified pre-owned vehicles with hassle-free trade-in options available. Shop online at mazdajackson.com or visit Mazda Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road.
Greetings. I'm Dr. Benny Tate, president of the Congregational Methodist Church denomination in Florence, Mississippi, and the pastor of Rock Springs Church in Milner, Georgia, inviting you to attend one of our services this week. Find a church near you at cm-church.org and be sure and listen for our weekly program, Apples of Gold from Rock Springs Church, here on 1039 WYAB.
Sundays, 7:30 and 10.
Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Braves Radio Network. We're in commercial right now, so I want to let my sister take over and tell you about Hometown Property Group.
Thanks, Ben. This is Mary Claire Putman with Hometown Property Group. Whether you're buying or selling, we are committed to guiding you through your real estate transaction with integrity, exceptional service, and remarkable results. Madison County has been my home for 40 years. I'd love to help make it yours too.
That's Hometown Property Group. Give them a call at 601-853-6080.
Hi, this is Mary Beth Hardy, owner of Flora Pharmacy. Flora Pharmacy is proud to be locally owned and operated. We believe in the power of community and personalized care. At Flora Pharmacy, we treat you like family. And for your convenience, we offer curbside service and prescription home delivery. Just pull up and we'll bring your prescriptions right to you. Can't make it to our store? Flora Pharmacy will drive it to your doorstep. Come see the best pharmacy in town today at Flora Pharmacy, where care meets convenience. Highway 49 in Flora.
Remember when you had energy after work? When your mind was sharp, your confidence was high, and getting older didn't feel like giving up? That guy's still in there. Live Better Men's Health and Wellness helps men fight fatigue, low testosterone, brain fog, and low motivation with customized treatment plans built for real life. No waiting forever, no awkward lectures, just answers, support, and a plan. Living better starts now. Live Better Men's Health. Visit livebettermen.com today.
Welcome back into the last few minutes of the Lindsey Beckham Show here on this Wednesday afternoon. Again, tomorrow we will have Mr. Daniel Anderson from Audio Alchemy Studios here in studio with us to talk about his newest podcast endeavor. I think it's going to be quite entertaining. to tune in. And we always have fun with Daniel. He's always entertaining when he is here in the studio. We're going to go to the online chat here. Rum Runner says you're going to blame COVID with some clown face emojis. Yeah, and Rum Runner, I think if we refuse to acknowledge that shutting the world down, shutting our schools down, isolating people in their homes, if we refuse to acknowledge that that did not have an effect on mental illness, then that's just ignorance. It clearly did in many, many situations. Spudnik says, I take a low dose Zoloft. My doctor who subscribed, I think he prescribed it to me. Over half of police officers in my city are on it. It works for me. I'm one of the lucky ones, been on it for 28 years. And I'm not hating on anyone who does take an SSRI or an antidepressant. I know that they can be used in certain situations and with some people for good. I completely understand that. I don't think this case was one of those. DJ Dolphman, are you one of those women that keeps picking abusive men because they are conservative and Christian and then surprised that cult members like to punch you in the face? Okay, I don't know what that means, or I have no idea. Ashley says this is the same Commonwealth with the Karen retrial, as a juror wouldn't be able to convict her, not at this point. I truly believe we're going to have a hung jury here, or she'll get a guilty due to insanity decision. RPTR8, but liberal women eventually do end up cheating on their partners with MAGA. It's become some kind of fetish. Okay. Kelsey says, I think they'll find her guilty. Whether they find her mentally insane is another question. In my opinion, this was premeditated, and you have to have some sound mind to do that. Is a very, very fine house says, you are delusional. And Joe Birch says, you have a huge nose. Okay. Is a very, very fine house then says, you're beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ashley says they did rule on Emily, the TikToker. She cannot testify, but he can bring in the records from McLean. I guess the staffing records that would show who was working during that time when Lindsay Clancy was inpatient there. John Weta says everything that Fauci suggested was done in the rest of the world. I don't know about that. I would have to disagree with you there. But that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for participating in the chat. Love to hear from you guys. And I'll be back right here tomorrow with Daniel Anderson. See you then. Bye.